My name is Willpower. I'm a record producer and owner of Bandwidth Studios. I formed Bandwidth because as a producer, I wanted to kind of have a creative collective. The idea and the premise is based around bringing a bunch of creatives together and not having anything to hold you back. Small things like how much it costs to be in the studio all the time, being a really dope record producer but not having access to dope songwriters, and vice versa, being a dope songwriter but can't find somebody that can actually produce the music for you. That's really what Bandwidth is. Yeah. As a producer, I think it's essential to build with artists. I feel like that's what my job is. You know, a lot of artists right now are out here just kind of being creative, but they don't have guidance. You know, there's a lot of freedom in just being able to come up with something on your own. But when you finally get a chance to work with a producer, someone that has the ability to kind of pull things together, you can actually broaden what your ideas are and broaden your creativity. Something that I'm really good at is finding the strengths in an artist, but I'm probably even stronger at finding their weaknesses. And that's where being a producer is really important when trying to build up an artist and build up what they're doing. You have to be able to find the things they're not good at and help them strengthen those areas. Pro bono work for me is like essential. Nowadays, I think my biggest goal is to try to give something back to people and try to show them the way, or just be able to assist in whatever kinds of things that they may not have. I've seen a lot of great things come out of it when you're not signing up to pay first or signing up to be, it's not a money thing first. A lot of times what needs to be done in the music business is like really expensive. So more things come from not being able to pay for it than what you can actually pay for. So many times that we're doing like video shoots or trying to create images, or, you know, in some of the cases that we're dealing with now, we're trying to move around the country and find ways to work, you know, with other people and do tours and things like that. So a lot of that stuff is really, it's a passion thing. So if you have the passion for it, then pro bono is almost like part of what it is. Studying. Like, study those before you. Like, I feel like with music, you have to have some type of, you know, premonition. And the only way to really have that is to kind of, you know, pay attention to what's around you, and pay attention to what came before you. Especially in urban music, you know, hip hop is really not that old. It's a really new art form. And so you could go as far back as the first people doing it and you know, get enough information to become really great at it and figure out what it is. But I think that's the first step for a new producer. I feel like, you know, you gotta kind of look into what it is you wanna do. I think the other part is become like savvy with an instrument. And when I say instrument, that's different these days, because now an instrument these days would be like your DAW, your digital workstation or whatever. If it might be Pro Tools, it might be Fruity Loops, or it really might be a guitar, or it might be a drum. At any rate, I think you have to become really savvy in one of those, in some type of instrument, in order to help you get across whatever it is you're trying to produce. For me, the strongest quality that an artist could have would be hunger. You know, a really unbridled desire to really be great. Somebody that you don't have to tell them that they want this, or you have to outwork them. You know, I look for somebody that really wants it and can get there before you and want to be there after you have to go home. And then there's this it factor that I look for. Everybody doesn't have that it factor, you know. It's the person who walks in the room and you know they're there before they even got in there and said anything. You know what I mean? That's a real special quality. The person that can like light up a room, or really just can kind of control the energy of a room. That's really important, so I look for that as well. My experience in the business has evolved like 3 times. I'm an OG in this thing, so you know, technology has evolved since I've been in the business. Art form has evolved, hip hop it's all evolved. You know, for me, watching artists and the way they express themselves has evolved as well. Freedom is a big thing now. Like, a lot of people are way more free than they were when we were coming in the game, you know, and working. But I think the biggest thing would be technology. You know, when I started, we were like still on, you know, 2-inch tapes and reel-to-reels and working on all analog equipment and things like that. And now, you know, I can do the same thing on my phone. I can literally cut the same quality records on my phone that I used to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on in a studio. Well, first off, Grammy Nominated is, in my opinion, is just a accolade, you know, and it's a great thing to have for those that have experienced it. But I really just think it's a nod to show that you're at the top of your game, you know, and that you're a person who has reached like what is considered a pinnacle as far as the industry is concerned. So I don't think it's anything that makes a person special. I feel like anybody could win a Grammy if they work hard for it. I feel like it's just a great it's a great target to want to hit. And so I have a lot of friends that have, you know, reached that target. And so with that, the one thing that I find that they all have is really just the work ethic. It's being able to just kind of work through a situation. If something gets them stuck in a session, they have methods and ways to get out of it, you know. But more than anything, it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about kind of following the lead of those before them. You know, it's actually some methods and some techniques involved. You know, like songs have structure, songs have certain energies. And as studio nerds, we talk about even frequency. So I feel like winning the Grammy is just a way of you kind of showing that you kind of got something special. First, just kind of find the energy of the artist. A lot of times when I'm working with an artist, I want to talk to them for a few minutes or hang out with them for an hour or two before we get to work, just to kind of see where they are. You know, I've learned over the years that you'd hate to come in and want to do a really happy song when you just found out that like your artist just went through a breakup and is in a weird place. You just don't want to mess up the vibe. You want to kind of keep it going. But once I kind of establish where we are in the energy place, then I just kind of start with soundscapes. You know, I look for things that just feel good. You know, it kind of depends on, like I said, the mood of the room. So if the energy's up, I'll find something with a lot of energy and I'll start there. If it's like wavy, vibey, I'll look for something vibey. And then from there, we just continue to build it. Another thing that I love to do is once I kind of get the framework of a track together or the framework of a song, I love to, you know, bring in live instrumentalists, let them play, let them find ways to make the music, bring it to life. You know, one thing about the digital realm is sometimes it can feel really mechanical, it can just be really straightforward. We like to produce off the grid a little bit, move things around, make it have some human feel to it, humanize the work. That's really the whole thing. So that's essentially my workflow. And then when it comes to like actually working with the artist and looking for sounds and things like that, vocal production is key. You know, we spend a lot of time just trying to help an artist be able to express themselves freely, but like with real feeling, you know what I mean? And so that comes through vocal production, but that's also part of the process of, you know, pulling the song together. So the Pregame Podcast is a producer's podcast that I founded maybe three or 4 years ago with my friend Brian Henry. And it started out as a conversation we used to have on the way to the gym. We'd argue every day about production and who had the dopest stuff and why did this person do this in the beat, did you hear the breakdown? Just normal conversation. And we just decided to kind of make a platform out of it. We started it and we would never miss a Monday. We did it for like 3 years straight with zero interruption. It's available on any, you know, streaming platform as far as like what podcast would be. Like it's on Apple and Stitcher, a few other different ones that I know, Google Play, all of those types of things. So it's available everywhere. What's really important about it right now is We took a break in 2019. We stopped, say maybe February 2019. And here recently, we just did a deal with a company called Airbit. And so now we're partnering with Airbit to bring the Free Game Producer podcast back. And this time we'll have a video element as well as an audio element. It's gonna be a crazy show. So, but one of my favorite shows on it, we spoke to a producer named Busby who's out of Nashville. And this particular episode was talking about the Music Modernization Act, which is where they talk about the monies that are involved with streaming. The episode was incredible, and Busby is also a very well-known country and pop producer, so he was really well versed on it, and he's a real strong advocate for the writers and producers on records, because, you know, the streaming platforms in the streaming world right now, they don't necessarily, you know, they're not showing us as much love as we would like them to. So that was a really good episode. I don't remember the number on it, but if you look it up, it's Busby on the Free Game Producer podcast. It's one of our later ones, so it's probably in like 90th to 100th episodes, somewhere in there. So, but yeah, we got 100 and something episodes, and I'm looking to do hundreds more. My name is Will Power. I'm a record producer and the owner of Bandwidth Studios, and I'm a huge supporter of National CEG.